up with the Christians, and this is my kitty co-host Midnight. Midnight's being a good girl. We are here with Jamie Hope. Jamie is a critically acclaimed screenwriter, author of the young adult novel Illusion, former chief of staff at the Michigan State House, and she just happens to be a substitute teacher in her spare time, which we know she has a lot of, right? So, because Jamie's so smart, I had to do extra hard questions for our refrigerator magnet challenge, Jamie A. Hope edition.
Right, I'm so smart. My husband would probably laugh at that one.
Hey, I don't know anybody else who was chief of staff at the Michigan State House or any other place.
Yeah, I think we can all see the level of intelligence going on in politics right now.
Touche. Jamie, as a substitute teacher, you're used to kids pulling pranks on you and pulling out that dreaded red pen. I seem to have misplaced my red pen, but that's okay because I have this handy dandy chalkboard. And I'm even going to pull out this brand new piece of chalk because I think it's time that we got to test the teachers for a change.
You're going way back to like 1990 with that chalkboard.
Let's start with an easy question first. Miss Hope, who's this? I think we know who this is. Dean Cain, aka Superman. And this is Jamie's book, Illusion. Miss Hope. Yeah. Because we know this is the most important thing on everyone's minds, who is cooler, Dean Cain or Kevin Sorbo, and why?
Well, I never officially got to meet Kevin Sorbo, so I can't say for sure, but Dean Cain's a pretty awesome guy. He is super down to earth, and what a lot of people don't know about him is not only was he Superman, but he played professional ball.
Like baseball or football?
Played for football, not professional, played collegiate football for them, yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And I have to ask, were you nervous around him? Because I told other people, he's a first, like I didn't get to meet him, but I've never seen a famous person in real life, and it was surreal. Were you nervous around him?
Not at all. The funny thing is, my very first meeting him was I had to powder his face, so we were up close and personal.
And you weren't nervous? You weren't nervous about that?
No, I don't know. I just don't. My husband will tell you, I just kind of, I don't know. He'll say I have a lot of gumption. I don't know. I just don't get weirded out by stuff like that. I just look at them as people too, you know? So that's kind of how I looked at it. I'm good at compartmentalization, so I just went and treated him like I would anybody else.
Oh, wow. And can you tell us what this is for so people know?
This was for the movie Faith Under Fire with Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo. It is a movie about a man struggling with his faith after losing his daughter to cancer, or I'm sorry, losing his wife to cancer, and then he's facing the same fate with his daughter.
Good job, Miss Hope. You get a check mark. One right.
All right.
Now, for a tougher question, this is a true or false question. Miss Hope, Dean Cain's 2014 movie The Appearing has a similar storyline as your novel Illusion, right there. Both are about demonic attacks. For the Churchy Church set, please tell our viewers, is it A, true, or B, true, that this kind of stuff actually happens?
It's true, so put your tin hat on. Hasn't anybody seen The Exorcist?
I didn't.
Ooh, yeah, you might not want to. They embellish, but yes, these things really happen as much as people would like to say they don't. They do.
Tell us about your novel Illusion, Jamie, because just like Dean Cain's movie The Appearing, it also deals with deep, dark family secrets that are connected to the demonic possession of the protagonist.
Yeah, so I wrote this book, I had a very active imagination as a kid, but I thought that was normal. And then I went through and I did the practical thing, went and got a business degree and all that. But then my son wouldn't read, so I thought, oh, maybe I'll write a book and get him to read. And then it just evolved into this whole different animal. So illusion, the tagline is the most dangerous realities are the ones we don't see. And it does actually have a lot of, it's a fiction novel, science fiction, but it does have elements of truth in it. And the fun of it is probably actually going in and seeing what things are true in it and what things are fiction. Because like one of the things that I address is transhumanism, which is just now starting to come out in mainstream. But I did this back in 2013 is when my novel was published, and it's true that the scientific community are genetically engineering human DNA with animal DNA and even AI. So it's messed up what they're doing. And I think a lot of the, like, what things that are discussed in the end times in the Bible, obviously spiritual warfare, there's some demonic and angelic presence in it. So I kind of throw the book at my book.
How did you get the idea to write it?
I watch a lot of really weird stuff, and I read a lot of really weird stuff, or things that other people would probably think are weird. So I love reading and watching different accounts, or sometimes, you know, they're conspiracies or whatever, or sometimes I love science, I love physics, I love a lot of this. Obviously, transhumanism would be more like bioengineering, but I have a couple that, the weird stuff I like to read and watch with my active imagination, and that's what comes up.
Well, and speaking of physics, Christina Peck is here. We know who Christina is. If you want to give a shout out to her, Jamie.
Oh, Christina and Josh Peck. Actually, they're some of the people that maybe not up front because they're newer, but they work, you know, with Tom Horn and all them, and a lot of those individuals were some of the people that helped inspire a lot of my book as far as some of the things that are in it. So hi, Christine.
Wow. So wait, you say the Skywatch team inspired part of your book?
Yeah, I don't think Skywatch itself was, I don't remember if that official show was out, but a lot of the people that are involved in it now, like I said, Tom Horn and all them, but yes, I love their shows. They do a great job of breaking down some of the lesser known news that's going on out there that's factual news. I mean, it's just not hitting mainstream because, you know, we're busy with hurt feelings.
Can you tell us any details? I know your book is available, so you're not going to give anything away that people couldn't buy. I know your protagonist has a deep, dark family secret. I was too scared to read Jamie's book. I'm a chicken with this kind of stuff. I'm serious.
Which is funny to me, because to me it wasn't even, I guess, I pulled a lot of punches at being faith-based. I didn't want to go too dark, but yeah, so the protagonist, he starts having these demonic attacks, and then he starts exhibiting superhuman abilities at the same time, and so obviously, like anybody, he starts wigging out about it. And yes, it is associated with dark secrets that his family were bred for nefarious purposes, but they fled after an encounter, and so they basically fled and took certain things with them, and now they didn't know if their children would inherit some of these traits that they acquired. So now we're starting to see that it looks like that's the case, and so it just, everything unravels at that point.
Now that kind of sounds like Nephilim, or not Nephilim, like Illuminati, MK Ultra type stuff, but are you talking more like Nephilim, or can you even...
No, genetic, well, in a way, it's genetic engineering, transhumanism. So yeah, they would call them probably more chimeras. So they and they're really doing this right now. DARPA and the Department of Defense have they're now saying that they are working on that. So they're trying, you know, so you might end up having a superhuman that can, you know, run like a cheetah, camouflage their skin. I mean, it's not a good thing, and you'll see my you know, my opinion on that as the storyline unravels. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and I have to tell you, I was just handed this note. It says, "I'll read it. I'm not a sissy like my wife." Nice producer. Okay.
Thanks, Captain.
Okay, Miss Hope. Correct. 2 points for Miss Hope. Now, Okay, class, I'm going to have to make these harder because we don't want to give away any magnets. Now, Miss Hope, here's a hard one. Besides Kevin Sorbo, these three things have one person in common. His movie, The Reliant, which comes out October 24th, his movie, Faith Under Fire, and an October 2nd article in American Thinker titled God, Guns, and Grit. What do you think are the three things in common with that, Miss Hope? A person.
Let me see. Me?
Yes! You are smarter than I thought.
Oh, it took me a second.
We talked about Faith Under Fire, but your article in American Thinker, God, Guns, and Grit, is from last week, I believe, or the week before, and it's about The Reliant. What can you tell us about that article or your other writing for American Thinker?
Well, The Reliant, I'm really looking forward to it. It is, for those that don't know, it's going to be out for one day in theaters only, October 24th, and then it'll be available DVD after that. But it's basically about what happens when anarchy, after, I can't remember what happens that sets it off. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've talked to a lot of people that were, I've talked to people that were in it. I have a lot of the down low on it, but so basically what happens when anarchy and chaos ensues, and the protagonist is the daughter who, she has to get her siblings out, and she's trying to protect them and keep them alive as she struggles with, you know, guns and God and, you know, where that all fits in. So they tried to give it an R rating, even though there's PG-13 movies that are way worse than theirs. There's no cussing, there's no sexual content, nothing like that. So they just feel the Motion Picture Association of America were picking on them a little bit, which for me, it wouldn't bother me, but obviously the faith-based film community, for some reason, is still not hedging on some. There's a lot of people that won't watch rated R movies, which to me, I'm like, okay, so you don't read the Bible then, right? Because the Bible would be like beyond an R rating if made true to form. So, you know, but it is what it is, and they had to really, really whittle some things down, hoping not to compromise on the quality of the movie. So that's what my article's about. It's about what they went through to make the movie, and you know what it's about and all that.
And you also have another article in American Thinker about strong male characters, and your book and your screenplays have very strong male characters. How important is that to portray those?
I think it's very important in this day and age. I mean, my article I wrote was during the Kavanaugh hearings when people were talking about his temperament, and they couldn't believe how off the rails he was for being upset, being, you know, accused of what they tried to accuse of him, even after several people that alleged that he did that to him, ended up admitting that their stories were false. But I'm like, oh really? So you don't want a man to be upset when he's falsely accused? Feminists always try to talk about how conservative women are so submissive to their spouses, and yet my point is, yeah, but we're not afraid to match ourselves with a strong male figure because we're not intimidated by that. So that was what that article's about. So it is important to have strong men. It's important to have strong men and strong women. I mean, you know, I don't need to dumb down my man or, you know, demasculinize him to make myself feel better.
Amen to that. Good answer, Jamie. I'm giving you an extra bonus point for that one. Miss Hope, extra bonus point. Rats, it's harder stumping a teacher than I realize. I think we may be stuck mailing out a magnet. Okay, Miss Hope, now it's time for Double or Nothing. Time for my hardest question. My husband loves documentaries. So as producer on Voice of America's gorgeous Alaskan Adventure episode that you produced for Voice of America Korea, how hard was it to learn Korean since the documentary's in Korean?
I didn't actually have to learn Korean. So we have a Korean host. Well, they're on season 2 now, and there's a different host now. But our first one was Solji. She was awesome, and she's bilingual, so she would do the narration in Korean.
Wow.
Because this is an international travel show that was it was targeted for South Korea. And so then when she would go and actually partake in the events or the different things, like in Alaska, she went hunting or learned how to hunt.
Wow.
Went up the plane. So all that would be in English, obviously, because you're working with people who live in America. So it's cool. I got to virtually see America, and I learned a lot, and I didn't have to travel to do it.
So how did you do it then if you didn't have to go to Alaska?
So we are, I helped produce it, so we would put together, my team, we would create the episode, and it's a pretty ambitious endeavor. I mean, the amount of shows that we had to create and film in a very short amount of time was very rigorous, but we would get together and decide where we were going, and then we would decide on the route, and then we would decide what that what that episode would look like, and then of course we would have to get approval from VOA and those that we're contracting with, and then we would have to find people that would be great to visit, and basically we would have to book the talent for it. So, and I could do that all from home.
Awesome. And you also did a documentary about a Michigan State Championship wrestling team. How did you get connected to that?
It's funny. Wrestling kind of hunts me down. I grew up with two brothers, so I grew up with wrestling. And they used to they treated me like a guy. In fact, my high school wrestling team at one point, several of them wanted me to join, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not going that far. But, I was very much a tomboy growing up, and so I was actually at an event promoting one of my short films, and I was approached by this guy who asked if I'd be willing to help. He didn't even know my association with wrestling. So I did that, and it was the MSU's first national championship wrestling team. They're the first Big Ten school to ever win, and so it was their 50th anniversary, and they were going to be announced at the Spartan game, the MSU football game, so they asked me if I'd help create that, and it was a lot of fun.
Was that recent?
2 years ago, 2017.
Oh wow, that was recent then.
Yeah.
Let me write here. Congratulations, Miss Hope! You just won our refrigerator magnet challenge. Please allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery, because it'll take me that long to remember to mail it out.
All right, I'll try to take a picture of it.
It's time for our shameless plug segment. Christian media types are really shy, so Jamie, please tell us about some projects you've been working with or that you're just excited about, some of your projects.
Well, one of my projects that has, I think, probably gotten the most traction, well, there's a couple, but one is Echo Chambers, another darker movie, and that basically is about a woman whose family is 6 generations deep into the occult, and she struggles to leave. She doesn't struggle to leave in the essence of she decides to put that away and embrace a new faith, but struggles in the consequences. So I have producer Will Wallace, who's signed on to help produce it. Will is an award-winning producer, director, actor out in Hollywood. He has a lot of accomplishments himself. And a partner of mine, Shawn that I was working with on this, sent him the script and asked, because we had someone that was interested, but we were worried about the ultra low budget that they wanted to put towards it. So Will read the tagline, he read the synopsis, and asked for the script. And then that day, he had his team go in a conference room and read it. And then we were on a conference call that night because he was actually interested in producing it. He was actually working on a couple other projects with a large distribution company. And he was hoping to be able to include that, but apparently for this distribution company, it was just too dark for them. I don't think they liked that there was an actual struggle there, which unfortunately is real life. But we're still hoping to be able to get that produced. And then I have another one called Sky's the Limit, which is hope born out of tragedy. That one's about Joy Orlando. She's a mother of two, wife and mother of two, just, totally loves her life until tragedy takes it all away. And then losing all of that, she struggles to want to stay here, but she is a Christian, and so she knows she can't do anything to jeopardize going to heaven. She wants to reunite with them in heaven. So it is a dramedy. She decides to act, if she can go and participate in high-risk adventures and accidentally, off herself, then she's great. She can...
I love it. I love it.
Can reunite with her family. I mean, who wouldn't want to if something like that happened? But when she goes to this island known for high-risk adventures and has a large death toll for it, she is met with the challenge of a guy named Dean Cain who accidentally keeps rescuing her, and their tumultuous, fortuitous relationship ensues.
I love it. One of the best screenplays I've ever read.
Yeah, you did read that one.
And Echo Chambers. I read that one and Echo Chambers.
Yeah.
In fact, Will Wallace was in the appearing with Dean Cain, so maybe the people behind that one, if it's a similar theme, maybe they can produce Echo Chambers, since it's similar storyline. Will Wallace starred in the appearing with Dean Cain.
I mean, it's always possible, absolutely. I mean, those are definitely... Will is just... I can't say enough about Will. I mean, he's just the most gracious person. I mean, humble, gracious. If you look him up and you see all of his accomplishments, he's just a prince of a human. I like him a lot. He's just a great guy. So yeah, I would be wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it would be great if that's all worked out. Mm-hmm.
How did you get connected to him?
Through Christopher Shaw, who has Christopher directed a movie that's coming out. I cannot wait until this one comes out. It's a Christian comedy. It's called Church People.
Yeah.
I know the tagline at one point was Christians have always been funny, just not on purpose. It looks like it's going to be great. And Christopher directed that. That's with Stephen Baldwin, Donald Faison, who played Petey in Remember the Titans, Joey Fatone's in it. So Christopher directed that, and Christopher and I have been friends and connected for it's been quite a few years now. So he's the one that introduced me to Will.
And interestingly, I saw that Will also, along with Christopher Shaw, award-winning director of a comedy, Will Wallace also is an award-winning director of a comedy. So it's interesting that they both have an interest in comedy, but also they're open to the reality of spiritual warfare.
Yeah, Will has done a lot of range. I mean, he's done a lot of secular films too. So I think he is starting to tap into the faith-based market now. But he just has a wide range of projects that he's worked on. So he's really well-rounded.
And Echo Chamber, the spiritual warfare screenplay, your first line grabbed me like nothing else. And with your permission, I'm going to share it.
Absolutely, go for it.
So, to set the scene in this awesome screenplay, and this is the one about the demonic spiritual battles, the protagonist starts off under the water looking up at the moonlit sky, and she says, "I lived my life in an echo chamber built by the sins of my fathers. When I fled, the enemy pursued, demanding me to answer." Then she comes up out of the water and says, "I'm here because of my answer." Best opener I've ever read! How did you come up with that? Seriously, was that just instinct?
Yeah, it was. Imagination.
And this is why...
I did not know this was not normal. Like, my imagination, and then I would start writing these things, and the responses I would get from people, and I was like, really? Like, that's not normal?
That's what Kevin says too. As an artist, when he was growing up, he'd say the same thing. He thought everybody could draw like him.
It's weird. It's weird. I mean, everybody has a talent. I tell my kids that all the time. We all have a gift. It's just finding that gift. I just wish I would have realized that gift sooner. Because I didn't realize it until I was in my early 30s. So I would love to write when I was a kid. I mean, we went on vacation once, and I wrote like a, we came back from to school and we had to write a, story about a vacation we took, and mine was the little half sheets of paper, but it was still 22 pages.
Wow, wow. And now it's time to check out our kitty cam. Aw, Midnight, you're so tired from being a kitty co-host. I love you, Midnight. You're such a nice kitty. Well, because we want to encourage people and have fun at the same time with this show, we're going to do an important word from our sponsor, me, because I'm doing the show for free. And my husband will get mad at me if I don't say, be sure and check out our Creative Motion YouTube channel, Creative Motion Online, and Keeping Up with the Christians group. Now, let's see here. Now it's time to check the candy cam. Midnight, what are you doing in that candy dish? You have your own treats. It's time for Keeping Up with the Kitties.
Well, we had funny story. When we first moved out, we live in the country now. We first moved out here about 7 years now. And so my husband never wanted animals. He's allergic. So when we moved out to the country, this stray cat, sweet little kitty, showed up on our doorstep, and I wasn't even going to ask to keep her, but he's like, well, if we want it, we can keep her as an outdoor cat. So I went out and, bought the insulated igloo, the insulated water bowl, went to town and bought the Cadillac versions of everything, and he's like, outdoor cat, baby, So then he's like, make sure you take her to see if she's fixed. We don't know anything about her. We need to make sure she's not going to end up pregnant. I'm like, okay. So, of course, I just didn't. And that spring, several months later, I noticed she was pregnant. So I was like, doo-doo-doo. I did not want to tell him. And one day he picks her up, and she's like, she got fat over the winter. And I'm like, she's pregnant. Oh, man. So she had, four kittens, one died, and she had 3 left, and so of course my husband's like, make sure you get rid of them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I just didn't want to take her babies away. So I did actually try once. I did put a Facebook post out, and so then he comes to me a couple months later. He's like, are you going to get rid of these cats? And I'm like, well, it's too late now. They're old. Nobody wants them.
Yeah.
So we ended up with all 3 of the babies. So we took all 4 of them and got them fixed. And so now one of them ended up dying a couple years ago. It got attacked because it's outdoors, but we still have 3.
Wait, what are their names?
Daisy, Samson, and Milo. Milo's the mama.
Oh, how cute! Aw.
Get some pictures of my kitties. They're the best outdoor cats ever. I can go outside and call them. It might take them 5 minutes to get there, but they hear me and they come running. So they're pretty good outdoor cats.
Jamie, anything specifically would you like to pray, or I can pray for these projects?
If you'd like to pray for the projects, and just God's will be done. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do in my life, just His will, whatever that is, no matter how good or troubling that might be for my life. Whatever He wants is what I'm trying to get the courage to do. So that would be great.
That's a start. Let's say, Jesus, thank you so much for this awesome time with Jamie and Rose and Christina and everybody else watching. We love you guys and are so thankful for all of you. Jesus, Jamie is one of the best writers I've ever read, so please give her some breaks. We know you didn't give her skill and talent for no reason, and that you're going to one day use it. Jamie is right on board, Jesus. Please give her the opportunities, and thank you for this time and for dying for us, Jesus. We love you. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that.
Jamie, anything else you'd like to share with our viewers? Last words?
No, I think they know pretty much a lot about me now.
And we're excited for your project. What?
I'm a mom and I write. What else can I say?
Yeah, sums it up.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. What you're doing is awesome. So, pray that you're supportive as well.
And thank you everybody for joining us today on Keeping Up with the Christians, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Would not move if the motor do not start. So I gotta pray every day. Don't